Hello YouTube, dear viewer, thanks for tuning in. So I'm Remo. This is my channel where I talk about psychology, spirituality, philosophy, creativity and productivity. Last video I talked about psyche and soul and how I view them, kind of a model of my philosophy of who am I. This time I want to unpack spirituality a little bit, what it means for me, and especially how I experience it, how I've simplified it. I've learned transpersonal psychology for 15 years, which is a field that looks into religions, mysticism, spiritual traditions, anthropology, and then tries to kind of paint the big picture of human and human experience, and it looks through the lens of science, through the lens of phenomenology, and kind of puts spirituality in terms of psychology, or at least tries to do that. So that's where most of my ideas and takes, angles come from. So today I want to look into spirituality. I want to share my view on it. Basically, I've fleshed it out and made it as simple as possible through my studies and experiences. I'm not even going to go into any definitions, just my personal experience and philosophy. So in a phrase, for me, what matters is that spirituality is a quality of life, even more than a way of life or a particular worldview. What I mean is that, yes, it is also about how you view life, yourself, others, and reality. But even more, for me, it's about how you experience life and your quality of attention to that experience. So let me make it even more simpler. In one word, spirituality is connection. Yeah? And there's 4 aspects for me to that connection. First, the central and universal one is, what most spiritual traditions speak of, as well as basically all New Age gurus, including Eckhart Tolle, which is connection to this moment, to the now. So the primary experience as such, unfiltered experience itself, which translates into presence, your presence in this moment, in this now. And so this is the first one. This is the connection to this moment. And it's quite fleeting in today's world with all the myriad of distractions, worries, and overall noise of information and too much digital connectivity. So we can also call this then the quality of your presence. This is the first one, the central one. And when we expand that into past and then future and then to other people, then we get a wider view of spirituality, which then builds up the quality of your presence. It's kind of, in one sense, what spiritual traditions teach us is that there only is the moment of now. But, having done psychotherapy, having done spiritual practices, going into future, building your vision and going into past, integrating your past, your experiences, your unintegrated lessons and emotions and your bodily depth, that leads into a more deeper, richer and wider presence in this moment or every moment in your life. So I wouldn't say it's in a fundamental metaphysical sense. Yes, there is only the now, the experience, but at the same time, this experience is informed and filtered, at least in your human body, through these other aspects. So what are the other aspects? So the 3 aspects are connection with yourself, or in other words, the quality of presence with yourself, connection with others, or the other in a philosophical sense, all beings other than yourself, the intersubjective. And finally, third, the connection with the ground of being, whether that's cosmos, the creator, God, life, evolution, truth with the capital T, or whatever it is for you, the source or the divine or the ultimate value you hold. So first, connection to yourself. That's basically answering the question, who am I? Going into psychology, into psychotherapy, basically what has informed me, my upbringing, the environment, and parental relationships that built me up, my experiences, my embodied reality. Yeah. So that has to do with character, integrity, your values, embodied values, your strengths, your weaknesses, trauma, upbringing, like I said, your past, as well as your goals and visions and future-oriented way of being, what you are trying to build up in that sense, and spiritually speaking, discernment. So that's all answering who am I, and of course then there are deeper, kind of more spiritual, in a traditional sense, more spiritual layers, but all of this is who you are, what makes you, what kind of constructs this particular filter of reality, as well as your sense of self, so your identity, let's put it this way. So that's the first one, so the connection to yourself. Yeah. The second one is connection to others, and this is basically relationships, the ways of relating, and also all of the maybe baggage you carry around in your relationships, all the unresolved things, and the unspoken words, all of that. So that's relationships with your partner, with your family, with your friends, with community, and the larger kind of society as well. You know, that goes into entrepreneurial principles, or entrepreneurship as such, your work, your profession, kind of a deeper maybe philosophy as well that you hold for humanity, and not just humans. I would say this is the most important one, but also the ecology, your relationship to other species and beings, or your environment as such. So this is connection not only to other humans, to other beings, but also to the planet as such, to the ecology, and all of these, you know, I'm sharing words in that sense. I'm kind of expressing philosophically, labeling, pointing, but really what I mean is the experience. So how do you experience relationships, other people? How directly can you experience someone? Or are there some kind of predispositions, you know? And the same with society, with the environment, you know, in our kind of distant past, the way we were experiencing the world. If you look at indigenous peoples, if you study their ways and the way they perceive the world, you know, there's a different quality of connection in their life that they feel to their surroundings, whether that's, you know, trees or the forests or animals or plants or other people. It's quite distinct from how we experience ourselves in a kind of a tower of 5 very distinct senses. So that's what I mean here. So the quality of connection to others. Yeah, so that's the second one. And the third one is the connection to the divine, or ground of being. However you view it, this is kind of what all traditional religions as well as spiritualities have talked about. And if you're not religious, if you're not spiritual, I would say that the simpler way to think about this is meaning. What gives meaning to you, this kind of transpersonal sphere of experience, you know, this other than you, other than yourself. So that is more expansive than just talking about God or creator or some kind of divine plan or evolution. So these 3 are the qualities of connection which for me forms spirituality. So how connected are to yourself, to others, and the environment experientially. The first universal principle of connection is connection to this moment, to the present moment, to what is, to the experience. If you apply this to time, then you get 3 kind of key qualities that emerge, which is authenticity, which is the quality you build up through connection to yourself, through discerning what you are, what has made you, and what you are not, what you have picked up from the society and the environment. Second is meaning, that I just talked about, regarding connection to something higher than yourself, whether that's your personal mission, whether that's your God, or in the best scenario, I would say a felt sense of connection to some higher quality or being. It could be love with a capital L, or truth, or beauty, something that gives you vision or inspires direction for you. So authenticity, meaning, and finally I would say value. So that's regarding connection to others. So that's creating value. What kind of value are you creating for other people? And doesn't mean I don't mean a product or a service only. That's kind of the last section of the connection with others, kind of the societal, entrepreneurial thing. But also, does your quality of presence bring value to others? If you are meeting with someone, are you really there for them, or are you there for you? This defines the quality of your connection with others. So I would say this, in short, is spirituality for me. And I'd be happy to hear, what does it mean for you? What do you believe in? What are your central values that you carry? What is spirituality for you? What does it mean for you? And how it differs to mine. So feel free to let me know in the comments. I would be really happy to read and respond if you have any questions. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next one.